Hello everyone. This is 17 Stages of Story, and today I want to dive deeper into the idea that there's only one story. This is a kind of follow-up to my previous video, a trailer for the hero's journey, which presented the same idea in a more direct and emotional kind of way. If you haven't seen the trailer, there's a link in the description. If you've looked into the hero's journey even a little bit, there's a good chance you've come across the idea that there's only one story.
I mean, granted, I should have read your book before I took this job, but I'm reading it now, and woo!
But is it true? Like I said in my introductory series, I think the hero's journey is true with a capital T. I believe we live in story. I know this can sound kind of woo-woo, and that similar claims are used to justify moral subjectivism and even more virulent forms of existential nihilism.
He believes in nothing. He believes in nothing, Lebowski, nothing.
But the hero's journey is about pushing past the differentiating details of one person's life to uncover the universal pattern of life itself. I think the hero's journey is true for two reasons. First, the nature of reality, and second, human nature, which of course is just a subcategory of reality. But the distinction is useful here. The relevant aspect of reality in this case is change, which by definition means change over time. I just want to be a little bit redundant for the sake of clarity. The point is, our actions now have consequences later. Positive change we call growth or progress. Negative change we call loss, failure, destruction. The idea that change has positive and negative aspects instantly brings us into the realm of human nature. We're sense-making creatures, always categorizing experiences into things that help us and things that hurt us. When we feel like we know how to make sense of the world, we call it order. When we don't know, we call it chaos. But this isn't quite synonymous with help and harm. For example, we might be able to make sense of our place in the world, but not like it very much. If we're suffering from an excess of order, we might want to inject a little chaos into our lives. If, on the other hand, we're suffering from an excess of chaos, we go looking for order. Order and chaos describe a relationship between our sense-making systems and the world. Help and harm are the two qualities we're looking for. Help so we can go toward it, and harm so we can get away from it.
Okay, so what am I doing? Oh, I'm chasing this guy. No, he's chasing me.
If we didn't need to differentiate between help and harm, we wouldn't need to make sense of the world. It just wouldn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
The fact that we need to differentiate between help and harm rests on an even more basic truth. One so basic that we might never stop to appreciate it or notice it. We're finite beings in an infinite universe.
Then you might ask yourself,
Always outnumbered and always outgunned. If it ever seems otherwise, it's because our ancestors sailed across oceans of blood, sweat, and tears so that their children might be born into a land of milk and honey. But even when we're lucky enough to be surrounded by the material miracles of modernity, the basic problem of suffering remains. What we lack, we desire, and what we have, we fear to lose. We're always the underdogs in the story of being, which is why we like underdog stories so much. We're always being bullied, so to speak, by reality.
Reality? Who let him in? Shit! Nice wine, huh? What do you think of that?
So we create stories to deal with the challenges of life.
Well, I'm sorry, the world isn't one big liberal arts college campus.
Which brings us back to where we started, with change. Even if you're stuck in the same place, playing the same role, surrounded by the same people for your entire life, you're still going to get older. The problem is this: aging is inevitable.
What is happening to me?
But growing up is optional.
Chlorophyll? More like borophyll.
And actually incredibly difficult. To change with the world around you, to grow up psychologically as your body physically ages, is to adapt. Some adaptations are gradual, incremental. The goal you're trying to accomplish is possible to you in your current form. Just work harder and you'll get what you want. That's what I call change with a lowercase c. But some goals aren't achievable in your current form. To achieve your goal, you must first transform into something you're not. And that's transformation with a capital T. Not all change is transformation. Transformation into something you're not requires you to let go of what you currently are. The bigger the transformation, the more you have to let go. Even when the conditions arise to make this transformation possible, it's often painful. In some cases, it can even kill you. The theory is that the hero's journey provides us with a universal pattern for that process of transformation, and a way to find our way through these painful crises. This is why, in my introductory series, I compare the hero's journey to the stages of grief. Finding our way through terrible grief is just one type of transformative experience, and I hope one day to talk more about the stages of grief in terms of the hero's journey. The point here is that if you can find what the stages of grief have in common with other types of transformative experiences, you're on your way to a universal model. So, are all stories the same? If human nature is the same everywhere, and if reality is the same everywhere, and if we tell stories to help us navigate the process of transformative change, then yeah, basically. But seriously, the hero's journey observes and describes a set of 17 related experiences that make transformation possible. If you treat these 17 stages like a formula, then you'll get formulaic results. But in the first paragraph of the first page of The Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell speaks to the infinite variety that springs from the universal model. It will be always the one shape-shifting yet marvelously constant story that we find, together with a challengingly persistent suggestion of more remaining to be experienced than will ever be known or told. If you got something out of this video, I hope you'll like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.